Greetings, ladies and gentlemen, it is I am the one and only, Mexi here once again, and I am back for the likes of the Mexi Toys videos. And ladies and gentlemen, welcome back for some more of Let's Play of Luigi's Mansion 2, aka Luigi's Mansion Dark Moon for those of you who lived in North America, for the Nintendo 3DS/Nintendo Switch, as we are still playing through Luigi's Mansion 2 HD. So, last time, we essentially did manage to wrap things up everything in Haunted Towers by not only we went into the boss mission, which appears to be tree topping, which not only about the fact that we've stumbled across into ourselves the most annoying section on that mission, which is of course the luck-based staircase section. In addition to that, speaking of staircases though, we actually did manage to fight against with this very weird staircase monster, and once you know it, the Processor was in there this whole time. In addition to that though, we also did manage to claim ourselves the third Dark Moon piece, and as a result, we've already now onto the halfway point in terms of collecting the specific pieces of the Dark Moon itself. And also we somehow managed able to tackle for the extra mission as well. So all in all, we've almost got perfect rating on the likes of the forms of Haunted Towers, except on the very first mission where it comes to the forms of the 3-star ranking medal. But of course, I will try to able to actually process that on my spare own time. So either way, today for this video is that we're about to be continuing things on in our Dark Moon quest, and this time we're heading over to the third mansion called Old Clockworks. So I get the feeling about the fact that this place is filled to the brim with a lot of mechanical stuff, in addition to clocks, you name it. So anyways, here we go on to the first mission in Old Clockworks, and that's what appears to be mission C-1, a timely entrance. So because of that, yeah, it might look like about the fact that, like I said before, we have to deal with a lot of clocks, which means there's going to be a lot of emphasis on puzzle solving. So because of that though, there might be still some occasional moments where basically those about the fact that we are going to have to deal with some bit of exploration, just in case we can able to actually find some more gems. But this time around though, something tells me we might come across into a different color gems. So either way, oh yeah, a few things I want to talk about is, before we get this entire mission started, is about the fact that, well, today's date of course the year is the 11th of September today, in some cases in 2024 today, and did you guys know about the fact that today makes 255? And if you guys are probably thinking, what's that about? Well, I'll tell you exactly how. It's been that many days since we somehow managed able to went into 2024. I mean, man, time flies. So, yeah, that's how I somehow managed able to try to explain this, because I somehow referencing something relates to Kingdom Hearts 358 over 2 days, which if you probably already know what I'm talking about, in regards to the forms of when you start the game off, or potentially speaking of if you almost nearly at the end of the game. So because of that though, yeah, I somehow managed able to bring that reference up, so that's besides the point. So, although I was originally trying to able to actually discuss upon something that's usually it's very important, that's what it appears to be about the fact that yes indeed, ever since about two days ago, not only about the fact that for those of you who lived in North America, not only did they somehow manage to celebrate the 25th anniversary of the Sega Dreamcast released in North America, alongside with the forms of Sonic Adventure of course, but also about the fact that the Apple event has already been up, which I think I'll let Ray the Flying Squirrel will discuss more about the forms of some abundance of announcements they somehow brings us with the Apple event. So well, here we are now onto the forms of Old Clockworks. So, as you probably already expect, in during the forms of in the first mission, if you couldn't tell, we obviously have to start things off on the outside portion of the mansion, because, you know, it's obviously just the very beginning portion of this entire mansion. So, either way, it looks like the Processor was shown up at the forms of that top of the actual clock tower itself. So, because of that, now as you can tell about the fact that this is now the third mansion we can now traverse into, meaning about the fact that the Processor Ghost now actually has 3 horns and vice versa as soon as we're able to get into later mansions. So either way though, and as you can tell about the fact that there's actually a security gate right there, And in order able to actually get inside though, is that you have to use the straw bulb right at the forms that particular monitor thing right there. So naturally though, it opens up the gate. Oh, it is something new. We actually stumbled across into ourselves these straw bulb bombs. And basically though, if you manage able to activate those specific bombs like this, I believe they're able to actually chase after you. But if you get exploded though, you will lose your bit of your health. So that, yeah, that's as far as I can try to say about this, I guess. So anyway, so here's that little missing bridge right there. But thankfully though, with the Dark Lights device, then we can somehow reveal the actual bridge that's been connected to, what else? The actual chest, which is filled to the brim with a lot of money notes. So everything else checks out there. So I believe what's in here though, and that's what appears to be about the fact that, oh, there's some very, very weird bugs around here. So I suppose no matter what though, we can either just try to able to suck it up, or potentially just try to use the straw bulb like I just did earlier. So anyways though, so let's see what we got inside in this particular mansion itself, which is obviously takes place in a warehouse. So I wonder what this greenie is up to, I wonder. He was desperately able to get something out of this thing. Well, apparently though, about the fact that we'll discuss more about that particular object until whenever we get inside the old clockworks itself. So, first of all, we just need to able to explore around for a little bit, so just to ensure for the fact I don't miss any single collectible I do need to get. So of course, we need to able to use this bomb thingy right there to able to let this pile of junk get exploded. And as a result, we can now explore onto this part. So either way, if you try to able to actually blow these little propellers right here, or these little fan blades, obviously though, you're able to actually get even more money notes right there. And by the way, something's worth noting for, if you try to able to actually suck up the actual specific dead branch right there, you also get coins apparently. So anyway, and there's something well hidden right there after obtaining all of these spirit balls, and naturally there's our first gem, which this time around though is now in colored red, representing rubies. So yeah, it seems pretty cool though, especially concerning for the fact that, you know, with the forms of certain jewelries with different colors, obviously though with the emeralds are basically like green jewelry, and as far as the red jewelry is concerned, it's basically ruby, and you pretty much name the rest of it. So anyway, so as you can see, there's a lot of hints around here, which obviously represents you need to able to match these specific time. Like for instance, right here, I need to able to solve this puzzle to able to make the big hand goes to 6, whilst meanwhile for the little hand needs to aim for about 3 or 4 in between. So because of that, making this 3:30. So because of that though, yeah, if you try to figure this out, then obviously though you feel right at home if you know about the time. So either way, well, to be more specifically than that, you can either decide able to actually move the minute hand and the hour hand. So, or to be more specifically though, it's hard for me to explain because I know for a fact it has been about 2 days ago since I actually have last played this game for sure. I mean, relatively speaking, it was about the fact that I'm pretty sure we're almost nearly at the forms of Halloween or anything else like that, until, to be more specifically, until next month in particular. And every once in a while though is about the fact that since we're still on September, of course, meaning about the fact that we now need to deal with the forms of some pretty terrible weather once again. Meaning about the fact that not only it's raining, but it's also about the fact that there are some occasional thunderstorms here and there. So because of that though, it's the time of the year again at this point, folks. So either way, there's the second gem right there. And as you can see, in order able to actually get this little thing out of this particular little thing right there, you need to able to carry this little small object right at the forms of this particular contraption right there. And from here, depending on what specific color thing you're able to actually get out of, like I think the green ones are usually sometimes worth anything for the likes of not only for money of course, but occasional with the forms of that particular second gem as you saw earlier. And right from here though, this particular red object looks a bit, well, kind of funny looking. Well, this is because if we try to able to pull this out, basically though, there's our 11th boo that we can somehow try to capture it. So either way, so hopefully though, we'll make it happen when it comes to trying to able to capture that specific boo. So anyways though, also as what I classify for mentioning about this, potentially speaking though, is that it may look like about the fact that we've only got about 15 more days to go until The Legend of Zelda Echoes of Wisdom will be releasing until specifically on the 26th of September. So yeah, it feels like the game is going to be pretty closer to its release. So I'm pretty sure about the fact that probably potentially we're able to see the overview trailer of the films of The Legend of Zelda Echoes of Wisdom just before the game actually comes out. And same applies with the films of Super Mario Party Jamboree as well. Although mind you about the fact that we have to wait for a little while, especially concerning for the fact that we've already got more details as well as the forms of some more gameplay footages already, all thanks to the forms of not only for Japanese website, but as well as the forms of PAX West demo as well. But I digress. So yeah, as you can see, we got the nice little key, so that way we can now able to proceed. Now before we get to that though, we need to able to go into the roundhouse quickly. So just in case about the fact that not only we can able to check on other scenarios, but also about the fact that if we check on these well, let's say the chest of drawers right there. Obviously, though, we get ourselves our glorious gold bone. So, yeah, so far so good when it comes to the forms of not to lose that particular golden bone. Because, potentially speaking, though, if you do get a good night, or in some cases this game's equivalent to game over and anything else like that, obviously, though, if you manage able to keep the golden bone with you, I'm pretty sure something is about to happen if you then manage able to run out of your health. And every once in a while, though, yeah, I might as well save that particular topic until what if we get onto certain tough missions later on. So either way, though, so as you can see, we stumbled across into this blockage area. So this means about the fact that we can't do anything about that until, regardless of anything else, though, unless if we're able to actually move on to the next mission, that is. So either way, so let's just go ahead and unlock this next door right here. So naturally, that'll pretty much lead us to the next progressioning. So it may look like we now ended up in the workshop. So also, I wonder what these ghosts are actually working on. Well, if you do manage to able to realize about the fact that, as you can see, certain greenies are invisible. So the only way you can able to actually make the entire combat a lot more easy to manage, at least as far as I'm concerned. Although, before we do anything else though, let me just go ahead and double check if there are certain things I was missing on, which I don't think that's the case or anything, so I suppose we should probably have, oh, there might be something in here though that's worth noting for. That's of course the, yet another money note, so kudos to that. So yeah, as you can see, those greenies are invisible unless if you use the dark light feature. So naturally speaking, though, we can't do anything with these greenies at the moment right now, unless if we manage able to go on to the next combat section right there. So for now, let's use the straw bulb right at this little ginormous bomb, and apparently though, that actually stuns them. So either way though, not what I have in mind, but I'll take it. So either way, so naturally we get ourselves our next couple of gold bars. And before we move on though, there is something else that was in here. Like, if we pull this thing down right there, okay, that's not that one, but this one, naturally, there's our gold greenie there. So either way, let's go ahead and try to able to suck him up. If, assuming about the fact I do need to still need to try able to tilt the analog stick in a opposite direction. But thankfully though, we did manage able to capture this particular gold greenie right there with no issues whatsoever. So either way, also, I just want to classify for mentioning about this in regards to the forms of what's going to be happening for the sake of the forms of next year in particular. Well, I'm probably not going to get into any further details just yet though, because we still need forms within 2024 after all, specifically in September. So also, I just want to classify for noticing this as well. We actually got ourselves our brand new gameplay footage from the likes of the forms of Mario Luigi Brothership, which not only does it show us some more gameplay clips, but also we got ourselves a new item was actually going to be introduced for the sake of the bros attacks. So I'm actually really looking forward to this though, especially concerning for the fact that, well, obviously though, the game itself looks incredible as it is. In addition to that though, it's about the fact that, well, obviously though, it's about the fact that it does have some new changes this time around, which I will try to mention about that particular topic though, but unfortunately though, I don't think I can able to actually discuss upon it right now actually. Well, that's besides the point, I guess. So, also, about the fact that I'm pretty sure about the fact that we've only got about 2 more days to go, because basically though it's about the fact that not only does Splatoon 3 is about to be doing the Grand Festival event, but also, get this, is about the fact that for those of you who lived in Japan, obviously though, Super Smash Bros. For the Nintendo 3DS is about to be celebrating its 10th anniversary since in 2014, which I can't even believe it's been about the entire decade old when it comes to the forms of, you know, Super Smash Bros. For the Nintendo 3DS's releases. So, because usually, relatively speaking, that was about the fact that, well, then again though, we'll talk more about that if we get on to specifically on the 13th of September. So anyway, so there's movements there. Now you need to pay attention with these numbers on these big gears, by the way, because this will be important if you really want to progress. So because of that, you see there's a 7, 3, and 0. Well, as you can tell, as soon as we're able to actually get into that particular clock tower gate itself, well, I don't think we can't do anything at the moment, because it may look like certain clock parts are missing. So because of that though, that not only we need to able to capture even more ghosts, but also we must able to retrieve not only 1, but 3 items, which there are a minute hand and the hour hand, and finally with the forms of this 3rd item, which I'll explain more about that if we get onto the later missions in Old Clockworks. So because of that though, now, in regards to everything else though, there's the another thing I forgot to mention about this potentially though, is that similar to the forms of, oh snap, the greenies decide able to use a special technique by causing the actual small tornado, which obviously though, if you're trying to able to avoid that particular tornado, then you should be okay. So regardless of everything else though, is about the fact that the only time that greenies attempt to do this technique is that, as you can see, we're now walking on sand. So because of that though, and if you manage able to walk on sand, your movement speed is actually a lot slower. So it makes sense, concerning for the fact that it's almost like you're able to actually experiencing walking through quicksand potentially though, something it's very similar to the forms of shifting sandland from Super Mario 64. So anyway, speaking of Super Mario 64 though, there's also another thing I've completely forgot to mention about this. Ever since Journey forms have been the beginning portion of Luigi's Mansion 2 potentially. So remember what I said about the fact that this game is entirely focusing on missions? So obviously that was about the fact that similar to Super Mario 64, alongside with Super Mario Sunshine, and even Super Mario Galaxy, Super Mario Galaxy 2, every time whenever you do manage to complete one of those missions in Journey forms of one of those mansions in particular, well obviously though you always have to go back onto the forms of this main part of the forms of, like for instance in Super Mario 64, Super Mario Sunshine, Super Mario Galaxy, as well as Super Mario Galaxy 2, every time whenever you do manage to complete one of those missions, obviously though you always have to go back in one of those hub worlds, and that could be also applies in this game in particular, except the fact that we have to go back into the lab on the menu selection. So because of that though, yeah, there's going to be a lot of times though about the fact that sometimes though, if you think you're basically done quite enough when it comes to certain missions alike, well though, then again though, it has been about quite a few days ago since I actually have last played this game like I said before, but either way, let's use the strobe ball right at this particular bomb, get stuck inside of this little glass window, and that way, if you've done that, basically though, the rest of the stand will be able to actually decide to come in. In fact, kind of think about it though, this particular puzzle solving right there kind of reminds me like a similar vibes as in Chapter 2 in the original Paper Mario, except the noticeable differences being is that we have to utilize with the Poltergust 5000 instead of just, well, you in paper form. Also, Yellow Toad falls into the abyss, and these two boos are somehow going after him. Also, I just realized about the fact that that particular room, as we saw earlier, through the actual wall, I believe something tells me, darn it, there's a greenie all along. Of course, we have to deal with those. So, either way, also, about the fact that one thing I did not expect, about the fact that whatever I've noticed something, that basically, though, is about the fact that, well, I suppose, about the fact I'm pretty sure it might be of a possibility, well, some people seem to keep on mentioning about the forms of how the fact that we might able to actually see the Switch successor, and during at some point in, I don't know, for this month or next month in particular, usually between with September or October, because at this point in time, it seems to be more specifically, they may look like about the fact that when it comes to Nintendo Direct presentations, specifically for Nintendo Switch 1, it's basically done now, which I know for a fact that it's kind of difficult to tell at this point in time, especially concerning for the fact that after all, we still got quite a lot of games left for Nintendo Switch 1 before we move on to the Switch successor, I'm pretty sure, at least as far as I'm usually concerned with that stuff, but either way. So yeah, as you can tell about the fact that we now ended up on, there's the golden spider right up there, which I suppose I should probably do that right now, which obviously that will gives me a glorious gold bar, so that's all that really matters in regards to the forms of trying to able to obtain certain parts throughout. So also there's a lot of invisible bridge paths we can able to actually just to try to navigate through. So thankfully though, these little parts right there is now visible. So well, apart from that one over there. So either way, let's just suck up some more spirit balls and all that stuff, and that pretty much does it for trying to able to actually get up there somehow. Now I think no matter what though, is about the fact that I do get the feeling about the fact that we need to find the one of the most important items when it comes to able to getting certain progressioning at this point. Oh, there's some hearts. Okay. I first thought there was going to be like more gold or anything else like that. So either way, so now we ended up in drafting office. So yeah, it may look like one of those greenies somehow appears. And it may look like about the fact that we have to deal with the forms of this particular mechanic of this particular room right there. And that's how blowing this little fan thing decides to come into play. Also, Sneaker decides to show up. So I suppose no matter what though, yeah, we need to deal with him first before we're able to actually get something in the other side of the forms of that particular room. So also, I was expecting to try to get the 3 straw bulb combo, but usually that doesn't go according to plan. But because I really desperately want to get myself my okay. 2 is good enough for me, unless if one of the that's the thing about sneakers though. They just obviously nice. We got all 3 of those sneakers in one specific straw bulb stun. That's actually really incredible. So anyways, let's utilize this little fan thing at the top there. You have to be quick about this though, because as you can see, the actual wall right there decides to able to come back. So no matter what though, thankfully though, we somehow managed to make our way in. And from here, we got ourselves the compass. Okay, that seems very important to us, especially concerning for the fact that hopefully we'll start able to actually get some more investigation of those missing clock parts. So anyway, I suppose there's technically the final thing I want to mention about this. That's what appears to be about the fact that, well, usually if I've noticed something about this is that apparently though, one of those games in particular for the PlayStation 5, and as well as the forms of PC as well, I guess, that one of those games in particular, which appears to be by the forms of Concord, apparently though, that somehow the actual servers has been shut down earlier, which as a result, I'm guessing it's probably because not only does the game itself manage to able to actually receive some very mixed reception, but it's also about the fact that it actually suffers poor sales, at least for I've noticing this already. Like, it wasn't until just recently, ever since on the 3rd of September, I don't suppose if you noticed, that Sony has just been revealed that the game would be shut down just recently as well, during of course within the 6th of September, in 2 weeks after its launch, so relatively speaking, with sold copies being refunded. So yeah, I've honestly have no idea why that game exists in the first place, ever since Enduring Forms within State of Play presentation, at least what I do remember that anyway. So now we've actually got the compass, so now we can able to actually do something with it. So I suppose we'll find out more about it during at some point on this Friday in particular. Also, I just realized, oh no, this Friday will pretty much lead us to, oh boy, Friday the 13th, meaning about the fact that we've come across into the unlucky day. So, yeah, wish me luck, I suppose, especially considering for the fact that you know how our 13th number represented for, it's basically unlucky and also just, well, feeling unlucky and all that stuff. That's what I can really say about this, I guess. So, anyway, yeah. Nothing else I can say, apart from the fact that, again, I would like to explain about the forms of the Apple event announcements they somehow revealed, but then again though, it's probably best to save that particular discussion during at some point in either on Thursday tomorrow or Friday. So anyway, unfortunately though, we somehow got ourselves the 2-star ranking medal, but that's okay, because obviously that was about the fact that, again, I'll try to do this off screen. So with that being said, folks, is that we're getting endings of this point right here. So join me next time for more Let's Play of Luigi's Mansion 2, aka Luigi's Mansion Dark Moon, and that's what appears to be about the fact that we're going on to the next mission, which is C-2 Underground Expedition. So I'll see you guys until on Friday. Later, fellas.